Good morning to you. You're welcome to Newsroom, our branch time news here on GHOne TV. I am Mohammed. Coming up in this belt comprehensively, these are top stories. As illegal mining takes center stage again, government deploys blue water gas to protect water bodies. Now, the question we ask is, will this work? We'll find out shortly. Also, minority leader pushes for new hospital chamber for political class. Is this the way to go? We'll touch on local governance as governments justify seeming delay in appointment of MMDCES, says President Mohammed is subjecting potential list to scrutiny. Ahead in business, the Ashanti Regional Security Council intensifies police visibility.
Has emphasized the urgent need to protect Ghana's natural resources. Appearing before Parliament's Appointments Committee on January 27, he proposed the establishment of a specialized water guard force to safeguard the nation's rivers and water bodies. He noted that the current practice of deploying military personnel for this purpose is both costly and unsustainable. Instead, he advocated for a permanent trained team dedicated specifically to protecting forests and water bodies from destruction.
Water guards will serve as the frontline defenders of our rivers, ensuring that our water resources remain a source of life, livelihood, prosperity for generations to come. The responsibilities of the blue water guards are paramount in the fight against illegal mining, especially for our water bodies. And the focus will be monitoring river health. They will identify areas of concern and report illegal activities for timely intervention.
The Minerals Commission, a key partner in the initiative, has pledged its full support. Deputy CEO Emmanuel Enyima highlighted the critical role of the blue water guards in protecting Ghana's natural resources and ensuring the long-term sustainability of the country's water bodies.
We will provide the necessary regulatory support, technical guidance, and oversight to ensure that the blue guards are well equipped, executed their mandates effectively.
Meanwhile, the flag officer commanding the Western Naval Command, Commodore Emmanuel Ayesu Kwafo, urged the recruits to approach their training with dedication and discipline, emphasizing the importance of their role in safeguarding Ghana's water resources.
That is not enough, because even the fish at sea needs fresh water, healthy fresh water to thrive at sea. So there's no limit as to the importance of our water bodies and our river gas. This training is not going to turn you into military personnel. However, it's going to equip you to do very important
of drinking water and also water for agricultural services. It is very important that this be done. But we need to say that we don't see the place of the river gas, considering the fact that it does not offer any strategic operational support to the needs of the people on the ground. I mean, if you go to the communities right now, what communities need is the fact that they see their rivers being constantly polluted by galamsey operators. They don't have anybody listening to them and providing them support in terms of rapid response to address the menace that galamsey is inflicting on their community lands and also on their rivers. So communities need people who will be on standby to provide them enforcement and compliance support. They are not getting that. Because for a long time, the committee themselves have done very well in reporting on a lot of the illegalities happening in their communities. So if you are now saying that you are going to employ people just to report on what is happening to our rivers, then you have not done anything. Because if you listen to the Honorable Minister, even as he was speaking, he says that the work of these people are going to be possible given support by the law enforcement agency. So without a law enforcement agency, these groups that have been trained are very useless, as you say. And I think that to also use resources that will be used for supporting law enforcement to ensure that the Rapid Response Team and the Authority Commission who are protecting forests are also really provided with significant logistics to be able to do their work. This would be much better use of our resources than really paying these number of river guards for work that is already being done by communities anyway. And we don't think that this in any way is going to bring anything new to the fight against them.
You raise a very important point, talking about inclusion of law enforcement. Now, we've had police and military who've trained for months, who've also been in active service for years, go on to the various Galamsey sites, still no results. Are we not sending this supposed Blue Water Initiative guards on a suicide mission?
I mean, that's exactly the point you have raised. The fact that if the military failed, the police failed, what is going to be different with the river guards? These are people who are not in any way armed in any way. The only thing they can do on the ground is to see and report. Something the community people have been doing all this while. That tells you that there is a gap in terms of resourcing the police, resourcing the military, and following up on every case that they bring up when they get to the field. I mean, one of the key challenges Operation GHOne and Operation Vanguard faced during the SPR administration was the fact that whenever they made arrests, there was nobody there to ensure that the other follow-up processes of prosecution are followed through. So this is the problem we are going to have. Now we have a big problem in compliance. We are not dealing with it. Now we are just training people in the community level who we are claiming are going to just be reporting and monitoring health. It is about water health monitoring. Then WRC, Water Resources Commission, is already doing that. And there are a lot of community people who are already doing that for free. There's no need to pay people. What is clearly missing is we need enforcement. There needs to be somebody at the police station, at the district police station on standby to take every report the community makes very, very seriously. That is what is not happening right now, and that is why the Galamsey issue is escalating with the kind of impunity that we are seeing. So we are afraid to say that the river guards is not going to add anything new. We think it's an ineffective use of our resources, and it could be better channeled to resourcing the law enforcement agencies and taxing every district commander and regional commander to ensure that they rid their districts and regions of Galamsey. When they don't do that, then we can call them to book.
Okay, but how do we deal with the issue of powerful interests behind Galamsey, beyond all these rhetorics and sending people onto our water bodies?
I think that is an issue we need to deal with. We don't want a situation, a repeat of the Akonta mining and the Tano Nimiri incident to happen in this administration. So if this government wants to succeed with the fight against Galamsey, then they should do whatever it takes to avoid their own people. And this was one key aspect of the pact that political parties signed on to just before the election. Unfortunately, after the election, we have seen people within the NDC already taking center stage and a lot of the illegal mining activities happening in some of our forest reserves. And it is very sad that we have not seen the presidency stick to this issue. The Honorable Minister is on the ground, he's in the field trying to make arrests and all of that, but the people are returning. I think internally as a party, we need to sit down and prioritize saving face, and also to ensure that they avoid the mistakes of the parliament. Otherwise, we have no choice than to also make sure that when time is due and they are not able to deliver, we get people who can really do the job for us as citizens.
All right, thank you very much. That's Daryl Bosu. He's the Deputy National Director for Arusha, Ghana. Let's still stay on Galamsey talks. An alarming trend of school children, including adolescent girls, abandoning school for illegal mining in the Fantiakwa South District has raised serious concerns. In response, a new initiative has been launched in Achimheman to curb the menace and empower young girls through education and vocational training. But the chief of the community wants government to treat illegal miners as terrorists and murderers and deal with them as such to save the environment. Eastern Regional Correspondent GHOne has more.
In recent times, many school children in Fantiakwa South districts in Eastern Region have been dropping out of school to engage in illegal mining, commonly known as galamsey. The situation has led to high absenteeism, sparking worries among education stakeholders and community leaders.
Ebi wo ho ma wo fo ma wo nska nti o mfi so mo ko mining na o mbenya ska dia ba school ebi wo ho no ma school dropouts obi wo ha na busuafo ne maame anan papa ni ska nti wo se won ko so ana abo na onya ska school for ne bo mo ma school na mo so ko gold ni bi eya mo so ade ensa na ha chest finance na ha enso mo se no.
The chief of GHOne, Osaberima Emrekisi Okasum Aporiata, who has been a vocal activist against illegal mining, has expressed disappointment in the mining regulatory bodies, accusing them of failing the country.
There are so many laws. The actors or the implementers, they will not implement because the security services are there. And there are various regulators, and it is their duty when you create the awareness and tell them this is happening. Because the problem is that you get people to go and arrest people, then they go and report to the police that you've come to beat them, which was not the reason, but to let them know, do proper mining, get away from our river bodies. But I believe we were let down by those who are regulators.
He confirmed that even young women in the area are now engaging in galamsey, worsening the crisis. He endorsed banning of excavators and treating illegal miners as terrorists.
Of late, some ladies have started doing koli. You have to arrest them. And I see them as terrorists, and they should be handled as such. Because when they destroy our water bodies, I can buy. What about the poor man who cannot buy? To arrest them and treat them as murderers.
In response, a women's empowerment initiative dubbed Inspired by ASO has been launched to encourage girls to stay in school and provide economic opportunities for women. The program targets young women in GHOne and neighboring towns including Dome, Abompe and Jampomani.
I believe that this can shape the thinking. It all starts from the dream. What do you want to achieve now? All those in JHS thinking of writing their exams to go to SHS will now focus on where they want to reach with their BEC certificates. So as we shape the mind towards that, I don't think they may be thinking of going to do illegal mining. And like I said, it's going to be a continuous process. That's why I launched the mentorship scheme. So it's going to continue. I'm not going to leave them like this. We are going to be on a journey.
As part of the initiative, Nancy Asoasiedu Amrado, a chartered marketer and head of brands management at 8, donated 1,000 customers' exercise books, Veronica buckets, gallons of liquid soap, and perfumed wash softeners to schools in the community. Additionally, young women will receive vocational training to equip them with skills for alternative livelihoods. For GHOne TV and Star FM, Kojo Ansa, GHOne, Eastern Region.
And now to local governance. Minister for Government Communications Felix Kwakye has attributed a delay in appointing chief executives of metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies to the careful scrutiny by the president. According to the minister, the president is ensuring the right selection is made to cut down on matters rising after such appointments. Speaking on state of affairs, Felix Kwakye assured President Mohammed will announce the appointees in the coming days.
As of now, MMDCEs are not elected. If they were elected, then the president would be under less pressure and scrutiny in terms of who gets to become MMDCE. But as of now, it is appointed. Therefore, there has to be a thorough process to screen those who put themselves up for that position. So it is better to take your time and do it well, so that when the list of MMDCs is announced or put out, we do not have the sort of blowback that often accompanies such announcements. There's a lot of consultation that has to happen. There's a lot of stakeholder engagement that has to happen, and that process is being undertaken. People are being vetted to assess their suitability for that position. So in the coming days, we should have some indication of who goes where as far as MMDCs are concerned.
Let's stay on the conversation a while longer. Joining us on phone is a local government expert and executive director of the Chamber of Local Governance, Charlotte, Dr. Richard Fiadomo. Doc, thank you very much for joining us. Still morning. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning and good morning to Terry.
Right. It's 3 months into the new administration. Nobody to head the various assemblies. The Minister for Government Communications says the president is subjecting the people to proper scrutiny. Is this justified?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that if you see how our local governance architecture is structured, MMDCs play a pivotal role, and their absence necessarily affects the activities and operations of the MMDAs. But the fact remains that a new administration is now in place. And obviously, like the spokesperson rightly said, they have to go through a certain level of process to get MMDCs for the president to nominate them. For some of these things, if you don't do proper and broad consultation, you mention the names, there will be agitation here and there, and it marks the whole process. So, yes, it is better late than never. But it must also be quick to say that it is not too late for MMDCs to be appointed, even though their absence in some way somehow affects the MMDAs. Because we all know that when His Excellency Nana Danko Akufo MMDCs came to office around April, May. So I think that there is still time. But what I would urge
should that then be the norm, Doc? Are you saying that in his predecessor's time, that's another Danko Akufo-Addo's tenure, he appointed MMDCs around April, May. President Mohammed has still not appointed MMDCs. Are we saying that should be the norm? What happens to local governance then?
Yeah, I have admitted by saying that the absence of MMDAs even for a week is a challenge for the assemblies, because the MMDCs, they are the approving authority. So as we speak, the assemblies are collecting monies, but they cannot spend because there is no approving authority. And I am saying that is a challenge. But I'm also saying that if you look at the time that we are in now, and when MMDC came anytime there's a new government, you see that Nana Danko Akufo-Addo did it in record time, and that was in April, May. And I'm just saying that if it can be done anytime soon, with respect to, for now, we are told each region they've successfully vetted them. So for me, if the president will listen to my advice, he should go ahead and nominate MMDC from these 8 regions, while the other regions will go through the vetting. Because if you want to wait and get all the 15 regions to be vetted before the president will nominate, it will also take some time. So I'm just saying that, yes, it was done in record time. That was in May 2017. So if His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to do it before May, that will also be a record time. So I'm just bringing that scenario for everybody to see that the local governance system did not crash in 2017, so will it not crash in 2025. All we want is that it must be done even to beat that of His Excellency Nana Danko Akufo this time.
Should we then resurrect the issue of election of MMDCs?
So for the election of MMDCs, it's a necessary evil. I think His Excellency the President, when he was, they asked the party to start the process to recruit persons to become MMDC. It was part of that community that at the latter part of his administration, the MMDCs are going to be elected. When the committee that is supposed to review Ghana's constitution went to him, he also mentioned it that on the top of his mind, election of MMDC. So as for that one, it's a necessary evil. It has to happen so that the MMDC will be accountable to the people within their respective district assemblies and not be accountable to the appointing authority. So now as we speak, there's no serious social accountability. The MMDAs collect our monies on a yearly basis. They don't even tell us how they spend our money. They don't come to account to us how they use our money. If there's a project that is going on and the project will transcend 1 year, we expect that the citizens must know that this particular project will take X number of years so that everybody can plan. You'll be there, they'll just come and block a road in front of your house that they are going to gravel or they are going to grade the road without any prior knowledge. So clearly, because the MMDCES are not accountable to the people, they do not take the people serious when it comes to how they run the assemblies. The law is on their side. If I don't pay my property rate, I don't pay my BOP, they will send me to court and the court will compel me to pay. But what also happens, so if we begin to elect them, they will know that the power that they wield comes from the people and not necessarily from the president. So now, catching the eye of the president is what the MMDCES have been doing since 1988 that decentralization started.
Right. Thank you very much, Doc, for speaking to us. As always, that's Dr. Richard Fiadmo. He's Executive Director for the Chamber of Local Governance. Moving on, Minority Leader Alexander Kwame Appenyumaking is pushing for the establishment of a new hospital and chamber for the political class. This, according to him, is for the protection of medical information of parliamentarians. Speaking during the swearing-in of the Parliamentary Service Board, the Minority Leader pointed out that some MPs have had to travel overseas for medical treatment to keep their health details private. He also emphasized the need for the construction of a new suitable chamber for the political class.
So, Speaker, you've also talked about security. Indeed, when I visited the House, the British Parliament, the Commons, even within the chamber, there is enhanced security. Here in the public gallery, anybody at all can throw anything at a member of parliament and there is no security. So, Speaker, I am therefore looking forward to enhance security in the chamber and at least to depart from this old infrastructure, though it's fit for purpose. We can begin a conversation for a new chamber befitting of the legislative arm of government. The Speaker, there are two things that I look forward to seeing happen in the 9th Parliament. One, a hospital for Parliament. If it does happen, in accordance with your vision, it will be a great milestone. We are a political class. Our health issues are to be known within certain confines. Because of confidentiality and all, people travel abroad at great cost for medical support. I believe if we are able to deal with this, it will help.
Now, in a sharp rebuttal, Majority Leader Mohammed expressed disappointment to Appenyumaking's suggestion. He rather advocated for the refurbishment of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital and Kolebu Teaching Hospital for the use of the political class.
Now, on the issue of security, I do agree that we need to rethink the way that our compound is arranged, how that affects security and access to our offices and the chamber and etc. I don't think that the security issues warrant a discussion about constructing a new chamber. At this stage, when this country is confronted with multiple financial challenges. So that again, I totally disagree with my colleague, the Minority Leader, that we should be discussing the construction of a new chamber for Parliament. I believe that what we have has served us well over the years, and we can continue to do well. Definitely don't believe that a hospital is the priority of this Parliament, or should be the priority of this Parliament. Mr. Speaker, we are very close to the Rage Hospital, which I personally believe is adequate to provide the services that staff here will need. And I don't believe that at this stage in the finances of this country, we should have a political class building a hospital especially for itself and not wanting to mingle with ordinary Ghanaians and the facilities that they use. So I totally reject a proposal to construct a hospital for Parliament. We have a clinic which is in keeping with what most establishments have, and I believe that if anything at all, we should just improve upon the facilities and services of our clinic that provide basic services, and when you need serious medical care, you can use the facilities at the Rich Hospital, and Kulibu is not too far away from here.
A new chamber befitting of Parliament. Is this really necessary? Let's find out from the Executive Director of the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs, Dr. Rashid Rahman. Thank you very much for joining me here, Doc. There's a minute to 12, so good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
I trust you're doing well.
Yes, I'm well, thank you.
Great. Now, Doc, you have been dealing with issues of parliamentary affairs. You've superintended over not even just Ghana's Parliament, but elsewhere. You've seen what is done. Do we really need a new chamber? What is wrong with the current one?
I am not too sure that we need a new chamber, especially because in the 6th Parliament during the time of Right Honourable GHOne, a major kind of renovation was done to the current chamber, and just recently, under the 8th Parliament, also undertook. You remember when there was a recall of Parliament and they couldn't use the chamber because it was under renovation, and they had to go and use the International Conference Center. I would have thought that all these renovations were, aimed at making the chamber really fit for, the 21st century and fit for, the work of our honorable members. A lot of investments have been made already, and I think, for me, apart from the financial argument, the preservation of history and tradition is very, very important. The minority leader made reference to when he went to the House of Commons in England. I mean, this is a house where, for hundreds of years, in spite of all the evolution, the increase in population and so on, the British House has maintained that chamber. It has a lot of history behind it. You go there, you see them, they sit on benches. They don't even have the kind of luxury that we have here. But whatever it is, if there's any change, they try to retrofit it so that at least that tradition is maintained. And I think our leaders and our parliament should think in the same way, because a lot of history has already been made here. And I would think that rather than say, let's build a new one, especially also under the current circumstances. A few years ago, when Right Honourable Michael Kwe was Speaker, there was an attempt, and there was a huge uproar in this country. At that time, we were not facing the same economic challenges that we do face today. So I think there is everything against that argument. Rather, I think they should try and see how they can let this one work for us as a country so that we can preserve some history.
But Doc, you mentioned elsewhere, you talked even about the House of Commons in the UK. Does it have a specialized hospital attached to it?
I know parliaments have clinics, just like what we have here. But a hospital, this is the first time I'm hearing this. This is the first time, even the US Congress, I don't think it has a hospital attached to it. It might have a facility where at least there's a doctor and so on. When members of parliament have challenges, they go there. Look, there's an argument about the political class and the fact that their things should be confidential. Everybody's medical history has to be confidential. I mean, we just have to make sure that we fix our country and we fix the systems. Because doctors are not supposed to reveal, confidential information about their patients, no matter who they are. And I think because they swear an oath, and so if that's the practice in our country, people are revealing things. I mean, they are the ones who make the laws. They should tighten the laws so that if people get punished for breaching the law, I think that it will stop all these things, and politicians will not have to fear about going into the public hospital that we all go into because of the fact that somebody will reveal their medical history. Because you see, when arguments like this begin to be made, even if they are very kind of strong and tenable arguments, people would just begin to think that beneath it is the fact that the political class wants to be treated differently. And I think that is not an image and a message that members of parliament would want to send.
Okay.
So rather, I would say, let's fix everything. Let's make sure that, first of all, the hospitals and the clinics work. And then secondly, let's make sure that whatever the rules of engagement and the laws governing how confidential information is treated, when that is done. Because you go to other countries, politicians use the same facilities in those countries. But, there will be consequences if you go out spewing information about a politician or somebody from the political class who attends your clinic or who comes to your hospital.
Okay, Doc. Thank you very much. That's Dr. Rashid Rahman. He's Executive Director for the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs. Let's seek the health let's seek the health analyst bit or his thoughts on what he makes of a new health facility befitting of a political class. Samuel Arthur is a health advocate and he joins me via phone. Mr. Arthur, thank you very much for joining us. Good afternoon to you. Should the minority leader says we need a new hospital for Parliament, should we then allocate one of the Agenda 111 facilities to them?
Okay, so thank you for having me, and I'm pleased to be on your news this afternoon.
You're welcome.
When I heard this news, I thought initially it was a joke until I got further information, and then even from your outfit. What is the minority leader trying to draw? What is he drawing at? For me, I guess Dr. Rahman has hit the nail right on the head. Now, what are we seeking to deal with? What is the mischief we are seeking to deal with? Now, if the minority leader is talking about the issue of confidentiality, I think as a lawmaker, he would be offering some ideas in that arena where people that flout the laws actually there will be far punitive measures so that people will be discouraged from giving out information on that. Now, I also want to find out the basis for this proposal. Now, does he have any data that suggests that some political class people have their health information out there or some confidential information that is out? Can we have some chronology or some kind of data that he can point to? Or is it that the political class is beginning to feel special and feel different? For me, this will be discriminatory. It won't make sense, and if we are not careful, it will rather kill the morale, and the ordinary people will begin to feel, they are receiving substandard services, and then that will not go well. So let's be careful. For me, the health sector already has issues that we are dealing with. Mm-hmm. But to begin to create special facilities for the political class, for me, it's a no, and it won't make any sense.
Mr. Arthur, thank you very much for speaking to us. That's Samuel Arthur. He is a health advocate. Well, let's find out what your thoughts are on social media. Nanama Akwa joins us with various thoughts and comments of you on our various social media pages. Do you think that as Ghanaian, we need a new chamber and of course we need a new hospital? Will that make them superior over the ordinary Ghanaian? Well, probably these are my thoughts, but what do you think? Nanama, what are people saying?
Lily, interesting thoughts indeed. Well, we chanced upon a post by Afenyo Markin, who was defending what he was saying that he was only clarifying what the speaker was actually saying. Now, Kweku Adams on X says the political class mentality isn't a new thing from you. This, your comment and mentality is becoming a little too much. Then we have here, Obed, you people are just a bunch of greedy men in there. What security concerns do you need again? A lot of schools under trees lack hospitals for the general public. Even the so-called Agenda 111 was just a means for the past government to steal money. We also have Kwan. This one, I disagree with you, Pa. Then King Dave says all these agencies you are comparing Parliament to raise money and so can build a hospital for themselves. He was talking about the police hospital and 37 military hospital as well. But Parliament doesn't raise. They just spend money to argue over who dresses well and who speaks good English. We also have Nana. Afenyo, I've come back. From where? I'm not sure. But establishing a new chamber and hospital will divert significant resources from national priorities, such as improving public health services and addressing economic instabilities caused by your inept NPP government. This proposal, he says, is an elitist demand, especially when compared to the needs of the general population. Mamiesi adds to the conversation, if you live an honest life as a politician, you will not be concerned about security. We also have EFO. Number one, every health worker is under oath to keep the confidentiality of its patients. And number two, parliamentarians, I think he meant to say, are not different from any ordinary Ghanaian who attends the above hospitals you listed. Parliamentarians can equally use those hospitals just like taxpayers do. And our last comment here, Derek, even though it makes sense, I think this is not the right time. If our balance books looks good, why not? It's a want, not a need. We can manage for now until we are able to do all of that, sir. Well, those are the comments that you have there. To build a hospital for parliamentarians and to build a new chamber or not. Let's see what happens in the near future. My name is Zanama Aqua. Continue to send us your messages on Instagram, Facebook and on X, formerly Twitter. Lily, back to you.
Thank you very much, Nanama. Let's head to the business hall, shall we? The Ashanti Regional Security Council has announced urgent measures to combat the rise in attacks on mobile money vendors in the region. Following an emergency meeting to address growing security concerns, Ashanti Regional Minister and RECSEC Chairman Dr. Frank Amakohene revealed that a bounty has been placed on individuals who provide credible information leading to the arrest of suspects involved in the attacks. As part of efforts to enhance security, law enforcement agencies will be redeployed to improve police visibility and ensure public safety.
With regards to the suspects themselves, we've been able to get some footages which are not too clear, but the IT team has been able to match it with some pictures. We don't want to be in a haste to proclaim someone as a suspect when the person is not a suspect. So they are inviting them one after the other. And thankfully, with most of these cases, especially with the crew from one, people who were around say they could identify the people. So those who are, the pictures that are matching with the CCTV footages, we are inviting them one after the other so that the informants will be able to tell whether or not they are the individuals involved. Be as it may, we've realized that the use of unregistered motorbikes and the riders on these unregistered motorbikes are suspects in most of these cases. So we are clamping down on the use of unregistered motorbikes. So we put a bounty on the heads of these suspects so that any citizen who would volunteer information and help us be able to trace and make arrests, will be able to reward them beautifully. The police will come up with their price, they will announce that on their platforms so that, and give contacts of the people they can call or the offices they can visit, so that anyone with any information on these issues will be able to attend to them and then be able to provide same for us. So we are taking serious actions in this regard and making sure that we protect lives and protect properties and protect the investment of people who invest within the region.
Now, the African Group of United Nations Commission on International Trade Law has revealed that Ghana is actively pursuing the opportunity to host the Advisory Center on International Investment Law. According to the group, hosting the center in Accra would create synergies with the AFCFTA Secretariat. It is expected to also provide African countries with a crucial institutional mechanism to enhance legal and technical expertise in handling investor-state dispute settlement cases.
The United Nations Commission on International Trade Law, UNCTRL, Working Group 3, is meeting to reaffirm its collective commitment to protecting Africa's interest in international investment law and dispute resolution. The Advisory Center is considered a key reform element aimed at assisting developing countries in effectively handling international investment disputes and bridging the gap between developed and developing nations. The ongoing 3-day meeting provides an opportunity for African countries to consolidate their positions and ensure that a UNCTRL reform process aligns with the AFTA Protocol on Investment. The Chief Director of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ramses Joseph Cleland, emphasized the importance of the Advisory Center in supporting developing countries in managing investment disputes effectively.
Hosting the Advisory Center will bring multiple benefits, including strengthening the capacity of African states to navigate complex international investment disputes, reducing costly arbitration expenses and ensuring fair outcomes for African governments, enhancing Africa's legal and institutional framework to manage foreign investments effectively, reinforcing Ghana's reputation as a hub for international trade and investment dispute resolution.
The chair of UNCTRL Working Group 3, Shane Spelesi, described the call for an African country to host the center as a step in the right direction, stressing that without African involvement, meaningful reforms would not be possible.
The African countries are the users of this system. You are often the respondents, and it is you who have the experience, you who have the knowledge. And so I think not only is it the time ripe for decisions, and I echo the call of the Minister of Foreign Affairs for participation, but particularly the participation of countries and states from this continent, because without your participation in this, these reforms will not be a success. And so I would echo and say that it's absolutely critical that we continue to have strong African involvement and African leadership on these issues.
The African Group of UNCTRL Working Group 3 is encouraging all African Union member states to join the Advisory Center once it becomes operational. They believe this will grant them access to the center's legal and technical expertise, benefiting their economies and people.
Now, stakeholders in the financial sector are impressing on government to consider the introduction of Islamic banking as a complementary funding source to close the infrastructure gap in the country. According to them, the profit margins on the conventional financial market as compared to Islamic banking, which is characterized by profit and loss sharing, necessitates the government to incorporate its operations, or as is being done in some neighboring countries such as Nigeria, Egypt, and others, letting of profit on borrowers. There's more on the following report.
According to a World Bank 2019 report, about 1 billion people go without electricity and 4 billion people cannot access the internet. Infrastructure is critical to bring social services to the poor and create opportunities for jobs and growth. Nigeria has since benefited from Sukuk, an Islamic bond of $1.43 billion, and Egypt announced its first $5 billion international Sukuk issuance program in February 2023. Here is Professor John Gachi highlighting the importance of Islamic banking.
Entities that are operating on Islamic financial rules are supposed to yield some of their profit into a zakat fund. And that zakat fund is meant to fight poverty in marginalized communities, Zongo communities, etc. So that was a point I was emphasizing. Just as we have our entities in the conventional sense doing corporate social responsibility of their own, this one that is a structured way of engaging in corporate social responsibility.
Speaking with the media, Director of Islamic Finance and Research Institute, Ghana, Dr. Shaibu Ali, underscored the essence of Islamic banking emphasizing its poverty alleviation potential by uplifting the status of the vulnerable in society.
Our situation in Ghana, we have a lot of people, within the poverty line, which we believe that we can be able to move them from the poverty line. Secondly, it's up in terms of the financial inclusion, with the Central Bank of Ghana is pushing to bring almost the unbanked people, those who are not banking, because of some religious reason. When you look at the Muslims, for instance, due to the Quran, some of them have decided not to bank. We believe that to push the agenda of financial inclusion, to push the agenda of lifting people from the poverty line, we believe that there is the need for Islamic finance in the country.
The stakeholders in the Islamic banking sector are therefore urging government to amend the current banking regime laws to allow for the operationalization of Islamic banking for the country to benefit from its dividends as pertains around the world.
That's it for business. It's now time for sports with Nana Management.
Hi there, I am Nana Ama Ajima. Now, the Black Stars held their first training session at Accra Sports Stadium yesterday in preparation for the 2026 World Cup qualifiers against Chad and Madagascar. Head coach Tuwado's squad opened camp on Monday with 9 players reporting to the team's base at Alisa Hotel. The early arrivals include Mohammed Salisu, Kamaldeen Suleimana, Razak Simpson, Gideon Mensah, Jojo Wolokot, Antoine Semenyo, Benjamin Asari, Lawrence Atizigi, and Kamaldeen Mahmoud. Blasters captain Jordan Ayew, Mohammed Kudus, Jerry Efie, and Iñaki Williams joined the team last night. The team will hold their second training session this afternoon. Away from football, 2 gold medalists from the recently held Battle for Independence Arm Wrestling Challenge, Grace Binta and Aigbe Mafia, paid a courtesy call on the EIB network. In an interaction with the athletes, the CEO of the EIB network, Nathan Kwabna Edisi, urged them to pay a courtesy call on the sports minister and also reiterated his support for the sport.
As you normally do, you are to make Ghana proud. And once GHOne is in,
we're supporting you.
More proud.
I think we need to take the van to Abuja. Yes, we'll be there supporting you.
And GHOne has added, I think, 89% energy to our.
Isn't that great? So no, we're going to do that. I think we should do some outfits and everything with our logos in there to support. And you have the sports minister as well. Yes. I think that you should also go and pay a courtesy call on the sports minister. You know, the ministry did a very good job by supporting, and like he said, he's also going to make sure that in Abuja you do well and plop in some finances as well. So let's see. But we are there for you, you know, just like you saw last Saturday. We are wholly behind you and our team at your beck and call anytime you need us. Yeah? So thank you very much. But next time if you should involve us, we'll come and do some wrestling together. Thank you.
On international front, Inter Miami forward Lionel Messi has been left out of Argentina's squad for the next 2 World Cup qualifiers. The 37-year-old returned to Miami starting a lineup for their major soccer league. Sunday's game, Inter later confirmed the 8-time Ballon d'Or winner has a low-grade injury to his abductor muscle. Lionel Messi was rested for 3 Miami games before coming off the bench and scoring in last week's CAF Champions win at Jamaica side. That is all for sports here on Newsroom. Back to you, Lily.
Thank you very much, Anam Ajiman, for that sports update. Let me bring you some more local stories. As Minister of State in charge of Government Communication, Felix Kwachiofosu, has defended the President's decision to appoint the current Inspector General of Police, Christian GHOne, despite concerns about his impending retirement. Speaking on the State of Affairs last night, he emphasized that the appointment was based on merit, citing the IGP's extensive experience and deep knowledge of the police service. He also stated that when the time comes for the IGP to retire, the President will appoint a new leader for the service.
IGPs are appointed with specific objectives to manage Ghana's police service in the most professional and ethical way to achieve specific security objectives. And there's none more uniquely qualified than IGP Mr. Christian GHOne. And President believes that his level of experience, his depth, his knowledge about the Ghana Police Service and the experience he's acquired over a 4-decade-old career should stand him in good stead to lead the police service into the new chapter that President expects them to leap into. So that was the reason why he was not about individuals, about institutions. The police service is brimming with any number of qualified people. At this moment, President believes that IGP Christian GHOne is the best man for the job. As and when it becomes necessary to appoint a new IGP, because Mr. GHOne's tenure would have ended owing to age or any other specific determinant, the President will make the decision that is necessary.
Let's now head to the international front. Rwanda's President Paul Kagame has fulfilled his vow to stand up to Belgium following the ongoing conflicts in the Democratic Republic of Congo. This diplomatic separation follows a consistent undermining of Rwanda by the European nation, as Brussels has been leading calls for European nations to sanction Rwanda over its support for the M23, a rebel group at the center of the DR Congo's crisis. The authorities in Kigali, Rwanda's capital, have given Belgian authorities 48 hours. Have given Belgian authorities 48 hours to leave the country. Belgium, which is the former colonial power, has said it will respond to these measures and labeled Rwanda's decision disproportionate. Still on the foreign front, the Israeli military has launched what they refer to as extensive strike in the Gaza Strip, with the Hamas-run health ministry reporting that at least 330 Palestinians have been killed. The Israel Defense Forces says that the attack was targeted at Hamas terrorists, even though the strikes hit a hospital. The strikes are continuing, and the IDF has recently issued fresh evacuation orders for many areas. Mahmoud Abu Wafa, the Deputy Interior Minister in Gaza and the highest-ranking Hamas security official in the territory, is asking the dead. Among the dead, this is the largest wave of airstrikes in Gaza since the ceasefire began on 19th January. Talks to extend the Gaza ceasefire have failed to reach an agreement. And that's it for the bulletin. I am Lily Mohammed. For more news update, kindly log on to starfm.com.gh. On behalf of the entire team led by Alizaito Ealing, we say thank you very much for watching. Good afternoon.